Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. Mr. Rowan, is there anything to report from the executive session?
I know there's not. However, I would like to ask the board if they would consider an amendment to, I'll have Mr. Malloy read the caption of the new item.
Part-time status change for firefighter 2B. Part-time status change for firefighters 2B.
I'll move to amend the agenda to amend that item.
Second?
Aye.
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 Yes. We've got... Y'all stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Ms. Harlow, we have meeting minutes.
We have the special meeting of May 5th.
I have no changes.
Nor do I.
No changes.
Move to
Approve May 5th, 2014.
second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And let's see here, we have the special meeting of July 14th.
I have no changes.
None.
Nor do I.
I'll move to approve July 14th meetings.
Second?
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And then the special meeting of July 21st.
I have nothing to add.
Nor I.
Nor I.
I just noticed a typo, so I will fix that, so.
I will make a motion to approve July 21, 2014 as amended.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have some presentations tonight. We're still doing these, even though there's no one here, Jim? Is that correct? Okay. Do you want to start with the Purple Heart one, Kevin?
Yes, thank you. The first one is a proclamation for the Purple Heart Society. They're going to be putting in a monument down at the Gateway Memorial. It costs us around $3,400, and they're covering all that, but we're putting in like $300 to put a foundation in. So I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas the Purple Heart is nation's oldest military medal, and whereas the Purple Heart is a combat decoration awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who are wounded or killed in action. And whereas the Military Order of the Purple Heart was to be created in 1930 to further protection and mutual interest of all who have received the Purple Heart II decoration. And whereas the Military Order of the Purple Heart is a national nonprofit organization chartered by Congress and comprised of combat wounded veterans with a mission to help veterans. And whereas the mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill and camaraderie among combat wounded veterans, promote patriotism, support necessary legislative initiatives, and most importantly, provide service to all veterans and their families. And whereas Colerain Township is deeply thankful for the sacrifice and service of the veterans wounded or killed in battle and seeks to honor the veterans, and whereas Colerain Township is committed to supporting our veterans and being an increasingly veteran-friendly place to work and live. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Colerain Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, to hereby certify the official designation of Purple Heart Township.
I have one for the Germania Society. Is there anybody here from Germania? Okay, and the resolution reads, whereas in the fall of 1960, the first reported meeting was held in the home of Hans and Mary Proof, it was resolved to form a family-oriented society for all people from all parts of Germany, independently of religion and politics. And whereas in August of 1963, the new name of the new society, Germania, was chosen, and in May 1964, the club incorporated as a non-profit society in the state of Ohio. And whereas the Rhineland Carnival celebration was enlarged and expanded by Ernest Schwab, who founded the first Elfrock Council of 11, and whereas the celebration of Oktoberfest had its beginnings in 1964, as well as the May Dance, St. Nicholas Party, and Family Picnic. And whereas German language efforts were initiated through Dr. Kraling and the Tri-State German School was established, and whereas in 1969 a 25-acre tract of land in Colerain Township was purchased by the drive and motivation of Fred Mouse, land improvements were made such as the soccer field under Max Bohm and the first building and parking facilities under Ben Greers and Stephen Mayhart. And whereas in 1972 a beautiful flag was procured by Werv van Trek, and whereas after 50 years the Germania Society has perpetuated German heritage in the greater Cincinnati region by upholding the traditions and customs of Germany, and has become a second home to many of German and non-German descent. Now therefore be it resolved that the Colerain Township Board of Trustees, Colerain Township, Ohio, recognizes on this day, August the 12th, 2014, the 50th anniversary of their Germania Society. Okay, the German half of me greatly apologizes for any names I just butchered. And moving on to, we also have one for the Clippard YMCA. Is there anyone here from Clippard tonight? Okay, perfect. We have, whereas the William and Harriet Clippard Branch YMCA opened its doors in the spring of 1994 to Colerain Township and Greater Cincinnati community, and is now celebrating their 20th anniversary. And whereas the Clippard Branch YMCA has become an impactful and life-changing agent that has been serving the Colerain Township community through the spirit, mind, and body during the course of these 20 years. And whereas the Clippard Branch YMCA engages over 11,000 individuals annually and almost 1,900 families through youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility, and contributes over $295,000 in financial assistance each year to ensure that everyone can benefit from their services. And whereas the Board of Trustees recognizes that strong organizations play a vital role in the life of the community and finds it fitting that the service and contributions of the Clippard YMCA be appropriately recognized, therefore be it resolved that the Colerain Township Board of Trustees hereby acknowledge with sincere gratitude the Clippard YMCA for the extraordinary service they have provided to our community since their opening in 1994. We further thank them and wish them continued growth and success in the years to come. We have that. You want to be out
Sure.
front? Okay, that leads us to public safety reports.
Good evening. Got some good information, some good news here. Just received notice that Battalion Chief Alan Walls of the Fire Department, who's currently attending the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Pennsylvania, received the A. Don Mono Outstanding Research Award for outstanding applied research in his National Fire Academy class, and will be receiving that award on Friday, September 5, 2014 at their symposium banquet as they prepare for graduation. So we commend Alan for his great work and his great research. To be singled out in a great class like that is very impressive. Next is on August 2nd, Saturday afternoon, was the first Hope for Heroes picnic. Approximately 30 veterans and family members attended that afternoon and moved through the providers and had great feedback with our officers and firefighters of the Veteran Corps, and we're excited about the official kickoff date at the Community Resource Center on Tuesday, November 11th, which is actually Veterans Day. And again, as a reminder, one day a month, those providers of a variety of different benefits for our veterans are going to be in the CRC working and providing assistance to any veteran that may find the need. So we're excited about getting them involved. And the day was a perfect day, great weather, and good food. Next, Coffee with a Cop is at the Bread Basket, 3218 West Galbraith. Mark, you didn't give me a date for that one. August 28th is right. They told me that when we had the last one at Red Squirrel, went very well attended, and we're excited about that. Great feedback from our residents on that. Next is the most recent Walk of Angels was July 27th. We battled the raindrops enough to get the 5K run in, and if you recall, the Walk of Angels is a walk run that was established by friends of our young teenagers that died tragically in May of 2007 and then June in 2009, and facilitated the Driving Angels program. The great thing is, as I stood there preparing to run, is I was reminded that in the 4 years that the Walk of Angels has been ongoing, they have donated $12,500 to our Driving Angels program. I think it's important for us to realize that we would not be able to facilitate such a quality teen driving initiative without those debt donations to make this thing work. So, and we'll receive another donation later this year from them. So it's just a tremendous initiative to keep the young people engaged with us. And finally, but certainly not least, is Detective Denny Deaton concluded, you may recall, the BB gun burglary cases that were in the early 2010 era. The suspects traveled throughout 2 counties, 5 jurisdictions, and Detective Deaton was very involved in that case, took the lead as things kept migrating, and his experience just kind of rose to the top. Just as a notation, as he prepped for the trial last week, he spent 3 nights until midnight working with prosecutors in the trial prep, getting ready for trial, and then minutes before, the suspects all pled guilty and received sentences ranging to 3.5 to 4.5 years, which is good. Those were immensely. They were using the BB gun to break the glass of entry doors and gain access to homes. Fairfield, Amberley Village, Harrison, it was all over the place, and stealing from in those homes. So that was a tremendous work by a lot of people, but Denny deserved recognition, and Chief plans on recognizing him outside of that. So that's the most recent update. So thank you for your time.
Next up, we have citizens address. I don't have anyone signed in to speak on a general topic. Is there anybody here tonight for that? No. Now we have the public hearing. Oh, sorry, I skipped.
I just wanted to congratulate our team and Mr. Schwartzoff on their tremendous Taste of Colerain event. My kids had a blast. We did both nights. Seems to get better every day. We're sort of going on the fly with you taking over the events, running point. Last few years and budget issues, but I really think it was a great event and happened.
Well said, Dennis. I don't have too much else to add, but since Chief Denny is here, I did want to commend his team as well. The Taste of Colerain continues to be just an awesome family event, and if there was any badness over the weekend, I thought your people did a great job, subtly but effectively in taking care of things, and that really is just a credit to you and your department. You did an outstanding job, and obviously everything Dennis said goes for me too. It's a great event, so thank you. Thank you. And also I did want to add the Germania Oktoberfest is coming up a little early this year, August 22nd, 23rd, 24th. That's always a great event as well, so I encourage our residents to make it out there if they can.
I don't have anything tonight. Now there's no citizens address. We'll move on to opening the public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
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 And I have one person. You want to start with you, Jeff?
Yeah, let's start with me. Mr. Goubeau is here representing Forever Green, and he mentioned that if you had any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer them. He doesn't have a prepared presentation. So this is a preliminary development plan application, and it stems from a number of complaints that we received about this property. When I investigated those complaints, it sort of became just a can of worms. For lack of a better word, the zoning down there is a mess. And so this is an attempt to resolve the zoning issues that are on the site, and also to bring the property into compliance. So back in 1999, there was a preliminary development plan that was approved for a landscaping company, but they never went back to the zoning commission to get a final development plan. That didn't keep them from building a lot of buildings, which they did. They were issued a cease and desist order by the zoning administrator at the time, but that sort of fell on deaf ears, and then subsequently that business went bankrupt. The property was purchased by Decker and was a part of the Hunter's Ridge development for a time, and then recently in 2010, Mr. Loeb and his business associate purchased it for Forever Green, which was a landscaping company. Since they purchased that property, they've been making additions to the property and changes that would not be permitted under the zoning resolution, using containers as buildings and temporary structures. It's kind of getting out of control. So the purpose of this preliminary development plan is to bring the zoning back, bring the property back into compliance with zoning and make it so that they are on level footing down there. The project was reviewed by Hamilton County Planning Commission. They approved the project with conditions. We took that recommendation to the Zoning Commission, who reviewed the project and recommended approval with a number of conditions. Those conditions are listed in the staff report, and my recommendation to you would be approval of the preliminary development plan with the listed conditions. And just as a parenthetical note, the final development plan, which will happen after you guys take action tonight, that addresses landscaping, lighting, signage, parking, circulation, other design considerations. So what we're looking at tonight is really the use of the property as a landscaping business, setbacks of the buildings, and we're giving them guidance through the conditions of what we expect to see in the final development plan.
So, do you say your name? Okay. Did you want to speak?
I do not have any to speak.
Okay.
Jeff did a pretty good job.
Question?
I'll make a
Summary.
motion. I'll make a motion to close
Second?
public hearing. Aye.
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 Is there a motion to approve the amendments as recommended here?
I'll move to approve and have a quick comment.
Second?
This is one of these properties, I think, your history goes back some time. And I think it's important for us to highlight your work on this, because I think you've been proactive in making sure that we've gotten to a point where now we can solve the problem. I've beat this drum since the administration has been in place, that this township is no longer going to stand for these types of issues. And we've cooperated with the business to be able to resolve it and move forward so that we can all be happy with where we are from a zoning perspective and to get along with the residents, et cetera. So again, I sound like a broken record, but this is good government in action. And
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
I have a resolution for your signature.
We're on to new business, public safety.
Okay, I have before the board two resolutions tonight. The first resolution is regarding a resolution establishing a scholarship for underprivileged candidates for the Colerain Police Department. For background, the goal of the police department, as well as any agency within the township, is to make sure that we represent appropriately the community that we serve, and diversity is part of that. And we want to provide the best and the highest quality candidates we can to serve in the roles of police officers, firefighters, et cetera. This is an opportunity through the creation of a scholarship that will allow the police department up to $7,000 every 2 years to identify a candidate that may be outside the general scope of what a candidate may be. What I mean is, young man or woman, young lady may choose to go to college and not go to the police academy, but they have a great interest, and we might find them and have an opportunity to identify that quality candidate and then give them a resource to get trained and then become an outstanding police officer for Colerain Township. Again, the goal ultimately is to provide the best and the highest quality candidates we can to serve the community while we address the issue of diversity. And I couldn't say, we've been working on this since 2011, and without Mr. Rowan and Mr. Barbier stepping in and listening to us and acknowledging the fact that and supporting the goal, the board has always been the most qualified people working for us, we wouldn't be here tonight. So we're excited to present this scholarship opportunity. The scholarships will be addressed by a board. The board is going to be made up of Chief Denny, myself, and Assistant Chief Frank Cook from the fire department. We'll review the scholarship opportunities and the applications and identify that, and whoever's selected will again also sign an acknowledgement to work for us for a period of time, so we see value of that return. But I think it's again changing the dynamic and realizing their quality candidates are out there. some people may need just some assistance that otherwise isn't out there, and if we can, we're going to find great people. It's just the way that we do business. So I just ask the board's approval for the resolution establishing the scholarship for underprivileged candidates for the police department.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
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 The second resolution addresses the asset transfer, the siren transfer, the siren equipment from the Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency, and I just need the board's approval to accept that and the transfer.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
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 And the final item, the board, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
The final item, the board approved an adjustment to the agenda. We initially we discussed this earlier in the summer, the review of the opportunity to address a firefighter 2B category that allows us to create a pilot study for a pool of part-time firefighter candidates that can provide additional hours of work to us, where we provide a health care benefit that is at what we call the gold plan, with a higher stipend, a higher percentage of payback for the firefighter. Tonight we are presenting 30 candidates for status change. There is no pay rate adjustment, and initially was on the agenda. We wanted to get some lock solid and make sure that we were absolutely sure that this was the right thing to do in respect to the Ohio Revised Code and things of that nature. And Mr. Barbier and his staff just, crushed it over the last 5 days to make sure we were going to be able to do it. So I appreciate you allowing us to get it back on the agenda, and I appreciate his hard work to get us here. But the following firefighters request a status change to firefighter 2B that includes a health insurance benefit. First is Nick Banks. Next, Jeff Benzing, Justin Boyce, Brandon Cable, Doug Eikens, Ben Erdman, Nicholas Flerledge, Brad Frank, Mark Gaynor, Zach Hardesty, Robert Hughes Jr., Thomas Houston, Steve Kramer, Tyler Larsh, Paul Littlefield, Ryan Lucas, Stephen May, Jessica Moaning, James Montgomery, Matthew Noble, Joseph Plackey, Justin Poppy, Stephen Schmidt, Shane Schnell, George Seibel, Jordan Shepard, Richard Simmons, John Voles, Jacob Westrick, and Terrence Zellers. I ask that the board approve status changes for each of those to firefighter 2B. Thank you.
So moved. Second. Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay. That leads us to public services.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the board to approve 2 seasonal maintenance hires. We had some unforeseen circumstances in July that caused me to be able to hire a couple extra people. The board hasn't met since we hired these. That's why the dates seem a little bit backdated. Dylan Morrison, effective July 14th, and Calvin Fox, effective July 21st, both at $11 per hour.
So moved.
Fix, I'm sorry. Calvin Fix.
Second.
So moved. Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Bitter.
Aye.
My second item is just information. As the board's aware, Meehan Park was leased by the township from the Cincinnati Waterworks. Since then, we've actually closed the park due to various reasons. Primarily, the park wasn't used, was in poor condition. So what we've done, since Meehan Park was named after Karen Meehan, we're now going to open a memorial at Clippard Park. And that opening or dedication is this Thursday at 10 a.m. Karen Meehan's mother, Jean Meehan, will be here. She lives in Florida now, but she has come back. She actually has been out to the park and is very pleased with what we did out there for Karen. So hopefully at least one of the board members can be there this Thursday. It's at 10 a.m. at Clippard.
What is it? How's it look?
It looks very nice.
Tree and
It's trees and landscaping and also a park bench.
Oh, nice.
We also had Lowe's Heroes help us with providing the landscaping and actually doing the work. So it's a very nice setting, and it's a nice memorial to Karen. My last item is as an action item. I ask the board to accept the bid from Adlita Construction in the amount of $141,529.20 to pave Hillary Drive and Fath Court. This is part of our CDBG paving projects for 2014.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Bitter.
Aye.
That leads us to zoning.
Ms. Reinhardt, before Mr. Mills takes over, I'd like to apologize for an oversight on the summary page agenda. We do have in the body of the agenda a recommendation to hire a part-time planner this evening, but for some reason in my latest revision, it got dropped off the summary page. So Mr. Mills' first action item will be recommendation to hire a part-time planner. That's in the packet, just missed the summary page.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Yes, let's start there. So it is my pleasure to recommend Ms. Brodsky, who's joining us this evening. This is Julia Brodsky. She is a 2014 graduate of University of Cincinnati's, and I'm going to go ahead and say the award-winning planning department at University of Cincinnati. She's currently employed by the University of Cincinnati's Planning, Design, and Construction Office, where she works on campus construction projects and project management tasks related to development on campus. Ms. Brodsky would be a part-time planner working approximately 24 hours a week at a rate of $21.63 an hour. She would receive no fringe benefits. We are very excited to have her coming on board and very excited for your support of our department.
I will gladly offer a motion to hire a fellow Bearcat.
Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Bitter?
Aye.
I'd just like to make a statement. First of all, welcome to the team. We look forward to having you aboard. As the board knows, we eliminated the planner about 2.5 years ago. Things were very slow at that point in time, but it doesn't take one long to realize as you drive down Colerain Avenue and throughout the community, there is a lot going on right now. So this is a welcome addition to the team, and looking forward to having her aboard.
Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is our monthly nuisance abatement resolution. This month, there are 50 properties that require abatement for either tall weeds or grass or trash and debris. It's a pretty familiar distribution on the map. And the properties have been listed in the table, which is sitting on the DS there.
Move to approve.
Second?
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye. I have a question.
Yes.
That problem property on Cheviot, almost near Galbraith, that was out of control for a while.
Yes.
They've been in compliance
They have.
regularly for the last
Yep,
6 to 8 weeks, haven't they?
they have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just bring that up because, there's only 3 major north-south streets, as you know, in the township, Cheviot, Pippin, and Colerain, and when bad property on one of those heavily traveled areas, it just reflects badly on the whole township, as all of them do.
That's right.
That one just a little more higher profile, so thank you.
It reminds me a lot of the one that was right across from the mall
Yeah.
on
Okay.
Springdale. Yep,
That's right.
very good. Thank you.
Resolution.
The next item on the agenda, I'm recommending the approval of a moratorium, a 1-year moratorium on the issuance of zoning certificates for alternative financial services providers. We have noticed in the last year a great increase in interest from alternative financial services providers, which can be thought of as check cashing places, loans on title places, pawn shops, these kinds of land uses. What I'm asking the board to do is to give me and my staff an opportunity to review whether or not there are negative impacts that are associated with these types of uses. And I'd like the opportunity to review how other communities are dealing with these types of uses and make recommendations to the zoning commission and see if they would be interested in looking at these uses in a different way. So,
Jeff?
Yes.
Excuse me, before they vote, would you just take a minute to talk about a couple of the studies that are in the resolution that are cited in there? And about
Absolutely.
the negative secondary effects and those kinds of things?
Yes. So in doing a little bit of preliminary research just to see whether or not the moratorium would be necessary, I've dug into the literature a little bit, and there are a number of studies that cite economic negative secondary impacts of these types of uses, which include impairing neighborhood character, aesthetics, deteriorating property values, and impeding economic development activities in the township, which have been attributed specifically to this use, and which right now we're considering these uses as banks and financial institutions, and banks and financial institutions don't have these secondary impacts that are negative. So for that reason, we're taking a look at this grouping of uses in particular.
I'll make a motion to approve the moratorium.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item that I have for you is just a request for a public hearing on the demolition of a condemned structure at 3777 Pool Road. I'd like to set that public hearing for the next Board of Trustees meeting, which would be September 9th.
That is it.
Excuse me for just a second. 9th, yes, at 6 p.m.
Motion to approve?
Second. Aye.
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 And finally, I would request that the trustees set another public hearing for consideration of a preliminary development plan for a new restaurant and tavern located at 4344 Dry Ridge, the former Snows Lake. I'd like to set that public hearing for the same time and date, Tuesday, September 9th, 6 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
I could have sworn the board already looked at something associated with that property, because I remember seeing the layout.
Yes.
Did we do that publicly, or was that something I just looked at in private? I can't recall.
You know what?
We had a hearing. There was something that dealt with a well. Wasn't it a zoning violation or something?
Yeah, so what happened was that property was on our demolition list.
Yeah.
Under the former owner, and we were prepared to demolish it. The owner went into bankruptcy. The property sold at an auction. It was purchased by the Fearing family, and they have come forward with this new plan. And I do believe that I shared their preliminary development plan initial concepts with the
Just
trustee.
offline with us.
Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, that leads us to Heather.
Did you vote on that?
I did.
Yeah, I think we.
We did. Yeah, because I commented after.
Thank you. I do sometimes have problems with that, so. I'd like to ask for the board's usual approval of payroll, purchase orders, and receipts.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And I've received a request for a stock change from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for Gilligan Oil Company at 9760 Colerain Avenue. I've, of course, spoken with Mr. Mills and Chief Denny, and either see the need for hearing, so we can move forward. The board agrees. Thank you.
Is there any further need for further executive session? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second. Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.